are we doing? Oh, sweet.
Sweet.
What's up? Welcome everybody to Sweet the Podcast. This is episode 51. Technically, Misery Loves Company Part 2, but we switched up the name a little bit, and it's the psychology of Raceplay. And of course, I am joined by none other. Let me make sure I'm pointing the right way. Boom!
Thank you for having me again, and I'm glad we can I guess get more serious about it, since people have feelings about the severity and the preciseness of our conversation. So
yes, the topic of race play and the taboos and all the things that we like to get into in the dark that we bring to the light. So we're gonna jump right into the things of it. You know, if you watched episode 1, Misery Love Company, we grazed over my experience with race play, the things that how I got introduced, what made me divulge and experiment more with that taboo kink. But let's jump deeper into that and figure out what the hell is actually race play, you know?
well, I guess the personal definition, if we want to start off with the, I guess, the definition off of Wiktionary or whatever, a form of sexual role play in which the players act out racially charged situations, such as interracial slave master relationships. That's their bare minimum definition. But personal, I guess, would be any sort of play that is promoting the racialization of your sexuality. That can just be as easy as giving descriptions regarding your race that center around that, or even using any sort of historical context to embolden the sexual act. That would be race play in my eyes.
I totally agree. My definition of race play, damn sure not going to be any eloquent talk right now. I'm feeling real. So race play to me is you're divulging in anything, as Moray said, pertaining to your goddamn race. BBC, white boys, I'm a white twink. You're looking for this, we're looking for that. Goddamn shit. And if I have to spark a reminder, if you have Black Lives Matters in your goddamn bio and you're white, you're into this shit.
More than likely.
Oh, it ain't no more than likely.
Oh,
I'm saying you are into this shit.
I have noticed. A
lot of people. Okay. Wait, I'm not gonna do that. No, let's stay on point. When does one slip into race play? By the time they say BBC, are they playing into it, or does it require more? Ooh, I love that question. That really is a good question.
What do you think?
Slip into race play. I think people I think people are always on the line of race play a lot of the times when they speak in certain sexual aspects or kink verbal descriptions, or describing what they want, or if they're describing somebody they're fucking. How do you dip into it? Well, I think you're dipping into it when you say, "Ooh, I love a big black cock. I love a big black dick." I think you're dipping into it when you say, "I love little white twinks." If you're bringing anyone's race into it, or any stereotype that is associated with that race, then you are definitely tiptoeing around
Hmm.
race. You
Just
just
kissing the outside of the hole. Like, no,
you
I agree. Hmm.
tiptoeing around the hole.
Hmm. No, I agree. And it can be just as playful as just being interested in like a phenotype of someone's race. And like just personally, even just being on Snapchat, it was receiving comments. And I know how I look in the light depending on the angle. I know what I'm doing when I'm doing it. And it's the question of, oh, are you Asian? And I'm like, what would you like me to be? He's like, well, I've always wanted some Asian pussy. I'm like, mm-hmm. Yes, do what you want.
Asian pussy. Want some Asian pussy?
It's just like the illusion of whatever you're actually desiring, and indulging in that. And if you allow them to, they'll do more with you. And I'm not gonna hold it against you. Quite honestly, I don't give a fuck. I mean, you're getting your nut. I'm very happy for you. Um, but why was the racial component so necessary for the sexual interaction to even happen?
Good point. Because I'll say this: even before I even started openly, even privately playing into race play, people would always approach me, and mainly white, of course, but even Latino, even Asian, even some black would approach
Mm-hmm.
me under that stereotype of, oh, ooh, you're masked, ooh, not knowing if I'm vocal to Beyonce in the background or not. You see this,
Mm-hmm.
you say, oh, you man, ooh, I know you, ooh, big dick. And this is before any OnlyFans, just for fans, just me on Grinder, Jack, anything.
Yeah.
People will approach me just, oh, I love a BBC. Who said I got that? Who said that?
Who said that? Who said that?
Insert Candy and Portia.
You just made that up. Come on now. It's mhm. The projections are it's this is why when it comes to sexuality, it's all fetishism regardless. Your it's sex is the prime drive. It's food and sex. They're both together. It doesn't really matter. And so you're going to go hunt something that you want to eat. And you have your diet. And if for some reason your diet is a particular species or race, whatever you want to call it, I don't know where that actually comes from, but it's a fetish. And it's, oh, yeah, yeah, it is okay to have your fetish because that's what you're going to do anyway. It doesn't actually matter, and you don't care about the person regardless. You're not interested in their mind, you're interested in what they can give you. So people want this, they want this respect when it comes to sexuality. They want to have a connection with the individual, and I would love that for sure. But you're dealing with people that want to fill their bellies, and they're not concerned about your needs or your humanness. You're a toy. So
Ooh,
I think people need to understand that sex is not this wholesome thing and that you will not get respect of just because you're asking for it. They're coming to you because they want you physically, and then they will discard you or they'll have you again. It depends.
when it comes to race play and even any kink, people are gonna say what they want to say to get what they want. They're gonna try
Mm-hmm.
to manipulate. They're gonna try to keep it G politically correct as possible while still implying to let you know what they're into. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I'm correlating this in my brain is race playing intentional or a byproduct of trauma is because black people don't want to talk about race play. And if they do, is always putting it in something that if you participate in it, if you're white, you participate in it, obviously you're racist. And if you're black and you participate in it, you're a coon and you hate yourself and you're traumatized and you haven't healed and you don't love yourself. So is race play an intentional act or a byproduct of trauma? I say yes.
Yes, and yes.
Yes.
Um, you, and like the intentional part of it is where I think like the BDSM portion, and we can go into that deeper, but the BDSM portion is when you're doing the ritualistic act. It's like, okay, maybe I understand how my sexuality works and what I'm working through. So I want to engage in this act in order for, I mean, it can be to heal, it can be to, subvert, contain, whatever it is. There is a knowing of what you're doing while you're doing it. And
Mhm.
I can give more respect, or excuse me, I can give more respect and credence to someone who will will practice something and they have the knowledge of what they're doing. It's harder to, give someone a pass when it's a subconscious thing, because they don't ultimately know how they're engaging and how much they might be possibly destroying themselves. Because there's like the difference between you don't love yourself versus I'm taking power back. And while that can all be, debated regardless, someone who is actively seeking white mates only
Oh,
and engaging in race play that way and always being submissive,
hold on.
there's something there that's different than someone who plays with all folks and can play with white like and race play surpasses just the two races that seem to exist. Black and white is they're the only races that exist, and there's nothing else outside of that, which is so narcissistic in its own way. But there's a difference between the actually no, I'm kind of go back on that, because even in the intentional act there can be a byproduct of trauma, but at least they are aware of the poison that has infested them, or the poison that surrounds them, and they're trying to transmute that energy. But when it comes to certain people, oh, you do have some healing to do, but usually you're destroying yourself and you're also destroying the brethren that you don't want to have. But that's if you decide to take on race as an actual identity. Um, that is if you see your race as something important to you, and if it's essential to how you interact with folks. Personally, for me, mm, depends on who I'm around. The race will change, and I really don't give a fuck. um, and it also depends on how you're treating me. So it's like, oh, I'd rather be a chameleon than a part of one particular race. It's just more fun that way. You get to see who people really are when they don't think someone's in the room watching them. But that got a little off topic.
Oh no, you were very much on topic. And race play to me is an intentional act and it's both a result of trauma of all, of course. I mean, I don't know how any other way to, I'm never just it's rare that I'm this is it. Black and white, this is it. There's no debating, there's no other flip side to this. There's no duality to this. I'm always pretty much, if I'm saying something, there's always some duality to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm intentional with it, but yes, this is a byproduct of trauma of, and I like things that I shouldn't like. If you're telling me I shouldn't like some shit, I'm finna, well, let me see why I shouldn't like it. Now I'm really finna test it. Let me,
Mm-hmm.
this is offending you. Me doing this, and this is, people were upset with me. I when people find out that this is before OnlyFans just for fans, me race playing privately or openly, people would see me dating someone white, light skin, Latin. Oh, you always got a white boy. Oh, you got, and I had dated all races, but it was the disdain that people would get just because I'm dating someone who is not black. Like, why do you care that much? So from that, building upon that, privately to race play, when people constantly hitting you up with the BBC, well, my dick is getting a little hard with some of the things. Hold on, what's up with that? Let me see. Let me see what's going on. Why is my dick getting hard? I need to
Yeah.
figure this out. Because at first it was like, this is wrong. Oh no, my gosh, I'm being anti-black. Race is not gonna go. Racism is not going anywhere. I hate to let anybody know who thinks that it is. It's not,
No.
because everyone has free will, and that's the doozer, the kicker.
You know, there's inherent differences and we can see them upon our faces. So racism, anyone who looks different than you, you're going to see differently, and thus they are different. And you can either, associate them with a different race, a different sex. Like if there is a difference, there's going to be an opposition. I just hope you're an evolved being and you want to get over that and know that it's not the end all be all. But the not liking certain things, I mean, probably leads into the next one. But when I enjoy the occasional, like, it's because ego is also a part of the sexual act. You're supposed to, uplift and prop up, someone's nature. Like you want to prop up somebody's dick and be like, oh, this is worth it. This is something that needs to be worshipped, and vice versa for the asshole too. You want to make it sacred. And yeah, I noticed that if I use particular language with a particular demographic, they're down for it. They're down for being worshipped, which now comes into like the byproduct of trauma. When you are made to feel, or you feel like you're made to feel inferior, then it does feel beautiful for someone to make you feel like you're worthy of something.
And on the flip to that, because you nailed it, but no buzz. And people always approach me with the, hey king, king, you black king, hey black king. Got so sick of hearing that shit. Maybe I want to be a nigger today.
Valid, factual.
I'm
Factual.
sick. Number one, I'm thinking you doing this black king shit just to prompt me up. I mean, I get it, yes, feed my ego. But now it's just to black king. Y'all done ran that shit into the ground. I swear to God. So when maybe I do want to be the Mandingo nigger fucking you behind the slave jack. Maybe I do want to be that thug nigger selling you your drugs on the corner, then take you behind his bando and wear that ass out.
That does sound nice. But
maybe I want to switch it out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of people can't grasp. I'll say the duality. And when I mentioned that, because some people are like, okay, what kind of race play are you into? I'm like, any aspect of it. I've done race play with a lot of races other than white, but white is the main one. That's the creme de la creme. That's the bee's knees. So I'm gonna experiment where I'm the dominant. Nobody's fucking me in this race play, but I will be the dominant thug nigga that's wearing that white ass out, or I can be the slave aspect of it, but I'm still fucking you. But this nigga is now, you own this nigga, but now let me fuck the shit out of you because you're like the slave master or something, or some shit like that. Not me going into my role play, but here we go. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
to understand the true nature of racism is to acknowledge that it isn't just the act of doing mean things to people because they're different. It's a worldview in which anyone of another race is something less than human. This is from the article about this boy here, the one who his
Mm-hmm.
introduction to race, his introduction to race play, but he just felt so shocked, so appalled, so beside himself that this white dude that he was fucking said called him a nigger. Oh my, a nigger in the, in the middle of the race play session. Well, it wasn't a race play session. I take that back, but during the sex session.
Like, okay. Whatever we gotta say.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm okay. I've never had anyone pop race play on to me just boop,
Mm-hmm.
calling me a nigga just to do. Nobody has ever tried me like that. Maybe because I'm the top.
Fair.
Maybe they'll try with a bottom.
Fair.
No one has ever slid that shit on me. They barely want to say black dick.
They're too nervous about that life.
I have to tell them what to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I will tell you this: anybody who's ever done race play with me, I'm the one who's said, say this,
Mm-hmm.
say that. So a lot of people have been like, I can't, I know, but
But you want to.
You do, because I know you do. You're here.
Mm-hmm. It's like you already know what I'm about, basically. Like, just from my page, you already know that I'm like one of those cum guzzling whores. Like, the fact that I'm calling myself a whore is kind of demeaning myself, and it's propping you up to take what you want from me.
Ooh.
So it's sort of like even still getting into these mindsets of being subordinate. It's, you want the power, and ultimately you're also going to do what I say to get it, because that's the only way to get it. But that's a whole other conversation as well.
You're crossing lines, because even in that submission, there's power of control that maybe I don't have the range to speak on right now because I'm not on Adderall to focus enough. But there's some interlying dynamics there of, because I don't know how this relates, but even if somebody's trying to hang out with me or link up, if somebody's like, "Ooh, come over here and fuck me now with that big black dick," my first response is, "Don't tell me what to do."
More than fair.
Shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me what to do. I hate that shit. You come humbly to me. That's you. When you approach me, you better come as I am, that black king. You better come humble.
See?
Then I will tell you what you have the access to do. Don't check.
See, you bring up that it's a perfect point, because with the submissive, they're depending on the degree and the level that they're at. Submission is never truly submission. There's the individual. We can think of these white bottoms who, and mind you, I've never had anyone in person try to do any sort of race play. It's always been online through maybe some like Snapchat where everything was fine. And then it was like, wait, what'd you say? I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta go. I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared for that. I need to leave. But then there's the aspect of the subs that are in control, and they feign weakness. They feign like they're giving up control, but ultimately they know that they're still in power. Thus, they think they can take what they want. And so when it comes to mini black tops, when it comes to mini black tops, they think that they're the ones in power because of, the desire from the white top, from the white bottom. It's like, oh, I would love that king black dick, yada yada, and they're being amped up. And yes, we love that. I do the same shit. I'm like, I would love me a nice BBC, and you want to get into some light skinned bitch, so why not? Why not do that? But but it's also like, I can't, from my perspective, I can't necessarily respect that, because you just lost your power to me, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to fight for the power, but you just gave it up to me so easily.
See?
So white bottoms, depending on the types, and we've seen them on Twitter as of late, they know what they're doing. Some of them know what they're doing, and some of them don't deserve it because they look like trash. But regardless, the black tops that are giving it to them, they also view themselves as trash. So thus they link up with that.
Here's me gagging.
You do you. Oh. Oh my God.
I just feel bad for the power dynamics, because it can be, it's an illusion at the end of the day. And sometimes we never know when we have lost the power, when we're not the one in control of the situation. I mean, shit, I've been in situations where I was like, oh, so I was the bitch here. Okay, well, that's lovely. And then even to that degree, I might have liked it, where I'm like, oh wow, you really just, you tricked me.
You got me.
Fine.
You said it right. You said it right. It's the illusion of power. And that's why I said, when they approach me with that, come fuck me with that, oh, come drink, come breed me, come do, number one, don't tell me what to do. I run this shit. I don't care who y'all. I'm running. Now, I do like a dominant bottom at a lot of times. Now, if you giving me a little, make me work for it a little, chase. I like a little chase now. Come on.
I do like the chase. The chase is good.
Chase is fun. Let's do that. But with these white bottoms and the black tops, you said it fucking, because the black tops, when you said that, they be looking like, oh God, I didn't want to go here, but I'm gonna do it. They be looking like shit, or and then they end up hooking up with these people, these white bottoms that are just trash because they're being prompted up the fuck. And then that's what led me into other ways of, I'm revealing lots of little secrets of Dom.
Oh yes, praise God.
If you want to play that, pay me.
You got to get your money. I mean, they're trying to take power away, and hopefully they have the coin. So collect their coin, because they're worthless. Sexually they're worthless. Like, if you're to engage with them, there is no equal exchange. They're probably loses.
And my question a lot of the time literally is, and what am I getting? And they be like, oh, come fuck me. You can, and they be like, oh, I'm getting this. You're getting some good hole.
Good hole. Is it ever good? I don't think so. No. I know it's paved. I know it's paved.
No.
Like, it's so loose, and the fact that you've decided to do this with many kings, I know the walls are weak. So why would I want any kind of sugar wall that can't even caress me or hold me? And quite honestly, might have that fish smell to it. You know the one I'm talking about. It always seems to have like that stench where you're like, okay, you've been nutted in a few times today. Oh no, that was from last week? Oh, so you're just destroyed from last week. You're just still healing? That's the HPV. That's what that is. That's what that is. And you know what? And I'm not even trying to front, because I've been in that. I've been in that hole before. I'm like, oh, this is bad. But you know what? When you're down bad, you get real horny. And you're like, okay, well, you know what? We're not going to do that again. Because, yeah, I saw the clientele after I left. I was like, oh, okay. So this is, oh, so you're also a liar. So there's multiple layers. Like, they're all liars. It's just, how are we manipulating to get fed what we want?
That's Harry, we've reached the top. Now we're manipulating to get what we want. I'm gonna get what I want. I'm not gonna. I really wish maybe a few episodes down the line I could really get into the secrets of how I turned this into monetization around this bitch. And I ain't talking about I'm not. I'll give you this. Look, this is motherfuckers who ain't never even met me. This ain't me selling dick. When we talk about selling dick, we going up higher prices. I mean,
I'd like that.
I kid you not. But for the people that have not met me, this is a screening process coming access to me because I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing is rare. There's not many a nigga out here doing what I do who looks like this.
Oh, okay. X-rated. I'm so mad at you. This is for YouTube.
Oh, right. YouTube. Okay. So I know what to charge for the engagement, the interaction, because of course, oh Lord Jesus, I have to mind what I say, so because I can't give up too much just yet, because I'm still in certain spaces.
Fair.
So we're gonna move on. How does Raceplay relate to racism and white supremacy? Now, part A. Now, did you have anything to say before I move on?
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
How does power play into the dynamics? We were just touching on that. It's all a facade. It's an illusion. Intention seems instrumental here, as sex is typically a deeper drive that surpasses the conscious mind. Ew. I think the humans are run on the desire of it's power and sex and power kind of go hand in hand because there have been many a war fought over pussy, just for and dick. There have been betrayals that's been if we really knew the root of a lot of historical events, the truth, not this yik yak shit they feed us, a lot of this shit is because it's people wanting to control something that they like or desire, and this is how many entanglements of this that they shouldn't want or desire or want to control because it's different than them, or they feel like it's a lot. I think the root of everything is sex and power. They all overlap each other. Nothing is, like I said, nothing is straight. Nothing is just boom, boom, boom. It's all crossing and crossing each other.
Well, when you talk about, because we've already been touching on the aspect of racism and white supremacy and race play, and the dynamic of the power dynamics involved. I guess I'm real curious about the stress and the traumas involved that do kind of create the need, or not the need, the desire to partake in race play.
What's
and the kind of race play?
I'm sorry for interrupting, because when you ask these questions, I try to think of an answer that is straight to the point of why do I decide to. Number one, I can just say what made me investigate or experiment race play is because basically things that I was hearing that were offensive at certain points were turning me on. Things that were supposed to be derogatory. And I was like, At first, I'm like, okay, dude, you're tripping. I don't know, just let it go. You're not blah blah blah. But then I'm like, but why? Why? I know this is some wiring in my brain, but now I need to know why is this turning me on. So I'm gonna, and then every time I would stumble across Harlem hookups porn, it would turn me on and I would enjoy it. I would love it. So I was like, oh, I hate myself for liking this. Oh my God. Oh, I didn't know why. And it was the taboo of it. It was the and
Yeah.
sex to me is very verbal. It's very imagination driven. And I think that probably derived from me being a kid growing up in church. I had to imagine a lot of sexual things that I wanted to encounter. So my imagination is very broad when even when I'm with someone, another body here, I'm taking it to another level
Mm,
in my own psyche. And now I just started to verbally say what is in here.
yeah.
And that opened the door for people like, oh, oh. And then when I seen certain people was like, oh, they were into that too. I was like, oh, okay, so
Mhm.
okay, let me see here. What can I do? And it's just evolved. The trauma of it. I'm black. I grew up in the South. I'm not passing for no other race. I'm black. And I love being black. I don't want to be any other race. I've never had that urge or desire to hate myself, to want to not be black. Never, ever. Because, I mean, why? Who the hell would choose to be anything else? Even with all the
Mhm.
persecution, even with all the systemic racism, even with, I could go out the door and probably be profiled, targeted with all kinds of things, and still gonna be black.
True.
It's the value I see that see people are. Do you not see how valuable black people are? That's it's the how white people had us, wanted us as slave. Even after slavery's over, you're still trying to oppress, you're trying to hold us down. Even in the music industry, everything we make, you're trying to steal. All of our clothes and ideas, you're trying to steal our culture, everything. So, bitch, y'all really want this. Okay, now I see this is something that is wanted. This is
Mhm.
high quality here, but you're trying to put it down because you're insecure and you're inferior. That's why you're trying to. But so it's a psychological thing more than anything, from racism to slavery to Jim Crow to the mass incarceration to all the shit is power and sex because they hate the nigga but they want to fuck the nigga.
Mhm.
Boop.
I feel you on that mainly because it's like with just the name, the Jing Eater, and it's connected to all matters of beings, but I think the most notable one is probably the succubi and the incubi. And these are creatures, and I'm putting it in my book in a more fantastical way, but it's these creatures that actively hunt you and drain you of your essence. And
Mhm.
you like it. It's not good for you whatsoever. You are like you are aging, you are losing your finances, you are losing everything, but you still want to get that nut off because it makes the way that they're doing it is the illusion. There's this power that you feel you have over them because sexually, when you're dominating someone, you feel like you're in control and you can make them do whatever you want. But if the being actually feels nothing and
Oh, oh,
is like, oh, puts on the masks of pleasure, then yeah, they're losing nothing. They're gaining everything. They're gaining more of your fealty to them to think that you are in control and thus they control you. But
oh. I had
to
go ahead, go ahead.
I was like to clean that up, to not have that personality trait, that aspect that I think so many people are indulging in right now. To me, that those are lower beings. Nothing wrong with them either. Like you have to like level up. You gotta
Levels of this shit.
like there's levels to this shit. Like to be such a lowly parasite and then to become pretty much a goddess of sex and sensuality. Because you can be a goddess of low level sex and that's pure debauchery. But to be a goddess of pure sensual love where the sex is actually healing instead of stifling, that's something else. And I think a lot of these sexual dynamics we're involved with when it comes to race play with particular demographics and minds, notably like the white bottoms who wish to gain black cock and semen, where they think that they're going to be empowered by this kingly seed. And thus they say, please take my white hole, it deserves to be punished. Words I've heard before in my own investigations.
Oh,
Um, they just, it's, but when I'm hearing them, I'm hearing, I deserve the black seed. It's not, what do you, like, oh, you didn't think I noticed that? You're
they
trying,
don't think you notice that.
like they're trying to come off like oh, I'm just trying to give my body to someone that is oppressed. So one, you view me as an oppressed creature, as if I don't have any sort of power of my own outside of the one that brought you to me.
Oh,
Then I know you're disrespecting me now, and now you're trying to trick me into thinking that I should be giving you something. You are parasitic, and that's why you look the way you look. And that's why you also have no love in your life in the first place. Who would love you? Who would want to be with something so lowly because you have to feed off of an essence that you never truly respected in the first place? So these kinds of beings exist, and I know it can sound real woo-woo. I already know how it sounds, but that's the reality that I live in is these low-level creatures are just feeding off of black dick, black dick that hasn't even obtained godliness yet. They're just
low level
dick.
black
They're
dick.
just they're just low-level black dick, and it looks good. Trust, it looks juicy, and the nuts are always heavy. But it's like, oh, you're always like, right? I'm just trying to like massage the bitch, like, just put it like on my neck, or just I want to wear it,
Just,
like just something. But then you think about it and you're like, you can hear it in the voice. You're like, oh, you're so dumb, baby. Why would I want dumb nut? Why would I want that? I want it because also why? It's not
oh,
something I should have, but in the
man,
long run, what's it gonna do for me? And
you
that's why the community's not built up the way it is. It's because dumb nut are just being spread all around and they just run
ooh,
off. So no, you're not going to have any sort of power because you're not building it in the first place. You can't even control where your seed goes. So,
ooh.
no, but I still want it though.
Ain't that sheesh, you took it to the point that I needed you to go to when it comes to power dynamic and low level dick and white bottom.
And white bottoms. White bottoms, and then black. I mean, the idea of black bottoms and white tops. Now, I'll
Okay.
touch on that just for a minute. I can, I
Yeah,
can
we need to touch on what the people are talking about out here. I don't be knowing now
say,
because I see it what the things that's going on. Let's touch on the white tops and black bottoms. Let's see what we can ground up here.
okay, now, what was that man's name? It was just going around, I think, last week or the week before.
Here we go.
Um, and it was just exposed in some texts. And you know what? I'm not going to do the allegedly thing because it's all evidenced right there. And
Oh,
also,
because
And what's so sad is that I don't give a damn that I don't even remember their names. I'm just like, I know I saw the text, it was going around. It's a notable white porn star who is dating another white porn star. Um, and they're a couple, and I've seen some of their videos. I've seen that they've been with black men before. He's a white bald head man. If you're white and bald, I already have feelings about you.
I don't like. Oh, this gonna fuck with my.
Now,
I don't
like, so when it comes to white and bald, there's a degree, there's like a Stanley Tucci. I enjoy that. That's a good man for me, but that's my issues. And then there's the porn star that looks and resembles Stanley Tucci that also notably fucks black men. Um, what is his name? What is
I
his
think I know
name?
exactly who you talking about too.
You
He wear
probably
glass.
do. Huh?
He wears glasses.
Does he? I've seen him wear glasses before. He's got to be almost in his 50s now.
Oh, okay, no, this can't be the same guy.
Yeah, he's an older gentleman now, but I mean, he's a very handsome man. Also, I notice you like black dick as well. Not my issue. You do what you want. My little young self was ready. And but to come back to like the white tops and the black bottoms, this couple, I guess there's some texts from one of the black bottoms where he is using, now this is it race play at this point, or is he just being racist?
Come on, look, give it to me.
Is really the blend, because it's like, you know what, you making me want to get on Twitter in this bitch so I can have
Please do, cause I want to know.
okay.
You
Yeah,
gave me.
it was just like 2 weeks ago, and
You gonna be scrolling forever.
he pretty much called him a pathetic nigger, and was just being rude. And I was like, oh, I don't even think this is about sex at this point. Y'all don't even talk about sex. You're just pretty much saying that he is a worthless nigger.
Yeah.
After you just fucked him.
Uh-huh.
So what?
You know,
But
I've gotten that. I've had people who I think even, but this is across the board. Period. I'll speak on this instance first, because I've gotten white dudes that who I've turned down, or I told them, "Oh, you trying to talk to me? You need to pay me. If you trying to see me, you need to pay me. Oh, you're just a fucking nigger. I don't give a fuck. No, he's calling me a nigger now. But first off, you're so stupid because obviously this shit is not finna upset me the way you think it is. Like, okay, whatever.
exactly.
But black dudes, all dudes do this too. Because if you turn them down and say you don't want them after, or I'm not interested, or whatever, oh, you was ugly anyway. Oh, I ain't want to fuck anyway. Oh, you ain't.
So you was willing. You were more than willing to fuck something you thought was disgusting. Okay, that's how I know you're low level.
Low level. Because you just telling on yourself. And I don't even waste my time to argue with you. You're
Don't have
blocked.
to. Do not have to.
Why you looking for that? We gonna read this, whatever the fuck these first few words are. I can't see because it says recording.
Okay.
But I'm gonna start here. Black men were seen as brutal, aggressive, and strong, and therefore useful when it came to hard labor. Ooh, labor. But black men were also so with a huge caution label, one that painted them as dangerous. The fear was that big black brute is strong and useful, but would also probably attempt to rape your entire family if given the
Mhm.
chance. Let me repeat that last line. Um, Wait, the fear was that this big black brute is strong and useful, but would also probably attempt to rape your entire family if given the chance. The combination of all these things, fear, aggression, hate, strength, danger, became somewhat of a sexual fantasy. Black men were dangerous, and their big cocks were forbidden fruit. It was the thing white people were not supposed to desire, so it became the thing they most desired. I want to say that I am in no way suggesting that a white person cannot find me or any other black person attractive without the existence of some problematic ulterior motive. That's debatable. I'm
Mm-hmm.
and this and here it comes. I'm a black man with a white partner. It is very clear to me that I am loved and appreciated and not being fetishized. See, that's the bullshit right there. Stop the article.
Yeah.
You lying now. He hasn't addressed some shit that's still inside of him that yes, your partner is fetishizing you. The one that loves you. I'm not saying that those two can't be true at the same time. They could love you and fetishize you at the same time, or they could just, which is more strong, which is more prominent. That's up to y'all to decide, not me.
Mm-hmm.
But to say that I'm a black man with a white partner, and it is very clear to me that I am loved and appreciated and not being fetishized. And again, I say that is a damn lie.
No, it's got to be. You can't have. There's no other option, quite honestly.
It's not. I'm sorry, not in America, not in the world. Ain't no white person, and I'm so sorry. Yes, you can love them and see, but there's some fetishization there, honey, in everything. It is.
Mm-hmm.
If a straight man is with a trans woman in the whole relationship together, they love each other. I mean, there's some fetishization there. Now, what if a tick? Oh no, oh Lord,
Mm-hmm.
not saying
Mm-hmm.
that the relationship. I'm not even going to go on that trans topic. I'm gonna stay over here where it's safe, where I know
Yeah. Yeah. True.
safe.
True. Keep it safe.
This safe. I can talk on this area of race because I'm here. I'm dwelling in it. But back to this little name. What I am saying is that it becomes very clear when a person is being pursued or desired as a checklist of traits, namely a big black cock that feeds urges into racial fetishization rather than pursued as a person. Oh, I mean, all of this is very true. I love the line about saying big black brute was strong and useful, but would also probably attempt to rape your entire family. And some people want that. Some people want their entire family to be black. I've had many people come to me with those fantasies. Oh, I want you to fuck me. I want you to fuck my mom, fuck my dad, fuck my
Mm.
brother, fuck my
We got
sister.
some. There's some. That's a level. That
Huh.
is
Huh.
a level of incest right there.
So do you let's knock on the door of incest.
Like, where's some things to talk about that one? Mm.
Yeah, they and oof incest oof. We may need a whole episode just to discuss that because the shit that I see and I ain't and look, oh Lord, I ain't even just talking about the porn incest shit that be going on. And I ain't even knocking that because I made a whole video with that role play. My thing is that this shit is real life. Mothers want to fuck their sons.
Mm-hmm.
Fathers want to fuck their daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Sons want to fuck their mothers. Sons want to fuck their fathers. All, any which way you want to put that, it's out here. And oh, oh, child, let me shut up. There was this video that was going around on Twitter where this black boy, was in his room, minding his business, door closed, walking, filming himself naked. He wasn't jacking off, but he had a huge, big black dick.
Mm-hmm.
His mom walked in the room and saw him naked, and she just stood in the door and just cussing him out. What the fuck you doing? Why you naked? Why you doing this? And keep in mind, she didn't even see the camera because the camera was on the other side of the room, like propped up somewhere, like on his desk or some shit. But she just standing up mad, going off on him. But I sensed in that video that anger was lust. She was mad at him for making her want him because she shouldn't be wanting her son's big dick inside of her old motherly pussy. But she did because she wanted it.
and, and people are going to act like they're not, their particular racial demographic is exempt from such heinous things that they would prop upon white people.
No,
It's
baby,
like, it's there.
let me wake it up more. I get more messages from black people, black dudes. Now, of course, I'm getting a message from white dudes. Okay, let's keep it. Of course, I'm getting a message from white dudes. I have a big black dick. I'm foreign, and I'm engaging in race play publicly. So I'm
Mhm.
getting messages. But the ones that have surprised me, used to at first, but not now, are from black dudes in support of it who just can't come out or just feel ashamed or need. I hate my. I don't know why I'm in. Just these are the people I get the most questions from, and I'm not saying that. And let me keep in mind, I am not the spokesperson for race play. I am not. Well, I'm not trying to be. Let me say that. I wasn't trying to be. I just wanted to live authentically and openly enough to show that the shit that y'all have conceived about people who are into such things, let me help affirm that or break it up. Maybe some of the things you believe are right. And maybe some of the shit you believe isn't. So I'm
Mhm.
here to let those niggas that be hitting me up, like, yo, nigga, it's cool. You ain't the only one. But a lot of you niggas too be the main ones that's spewing that hate against, that's talking shit about race play and colorism. I can't keep up with what the fuck be going on nowadays because it's
And
be too much for me. It be too much.
exactly, it's too damn much.
It be too
There's,
much.
mm-mm. and I and I'm done looking through all this because you know what? I learned that I have a major porn addiction and I need to stop. But I will say this: it was just a good old white couple to have actively done porn, and yeah, the text messages were leaked by said performer that has already actively played with them. Everyone pretty much called him out, saying, now that you have been disrespected, you want to leak the text messages, but you actively already knew he was racist, playing with him, and you probably did some racial play. And I'm pretty sure actually he is known for doing race play. So there's that one with the white tops and the black bottoms. There is no power to be gained from a white top. It's, if I'm going to be racist about it, a white top is dominant and they're not giving anything.
Mm-mm. No, no, no,
They're
no, no,
giving nothing. I mean, first of all, they're not fucking correctly, or they're not fucking the way that I would probably enjoy it. And that is okay because everyone has their own rhythms. But you could probably just see it in the stroke where you're like, oof, ooh, what you getting from that, baby? What are we receiving from that white dick that seems to want to just penetrate? There is no, you can see a stroke where they're attentive to the response of whatever mechanism's going on inside. Like me, I know when the stroke is happening and I see you're trying to press, but you know you can't force, and you're gonna have to coerce with the rhythm. And then I'm like, oh, naturally opening up, and then you start, the second hole just opens up naturally, and you're like, oh, and then you feel the surge inside of them, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm not ready for this, but
no.
yeah, plunge it in, plunge it in. When it comes to white men, I don't see them doing that ever. And when they're going into doing some dom sub play, there's nothing but anger inside of them. And I've had my fair share of white tops. I live in Minnesota. So it's not like, you eat the food that's around you. And I sure have, and I think I've had enough to know I need someone of another background, possibly, maybe, to give me what I need, but also the clear energetic difference when it comes to particular breeds of white men, because I
Yeah.
would be thinking about Minnesotans, which are Scandinavian, emotionally aggressive, passive aggressive, reserved. So you probably want some intimacy, but you also don't know how to get over that because you're so upset about something. And honestly, me being a person of color, there is nothing I can actually do to quell that anger because you're probably somewhat racist. So you're kind of mad at me already for whatever reason. And but then you also want to kind of love me. It's very confusing, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that for me. Um, but there is a white Dom top that I'm communicating with, and I was just like, it's going to be rather difficult to want to bottom for you, mainly because of the climate that we're in right now when it comes to race play. And it's not even race play at this point. It's race play in my mind because you're white.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to create that narrative. So that's the other shitty part about this whole conversation is that the people that are saying, oh, if you bottom for a white man, you're just insecure and you hate yourself. So I'm like, okay, so now you're trying to cast a spell on me, bitch.
See, why is that? Why is that? Why can't it's a lot here. Why can't you? I gotta come out. I gotta turn off this heat. Why can't
Like,
you buy a little white man?
because they, in their eyes, and I completely understand it for sure, um, is that there's power there that is not going to be shared. And in their mind, it's always going to be a slave master mentality, which lets me know that they're racist. I mean, or prejudiced, whatever the fuck language they want to use. They're the same kind of demographic. They're just in reverse, whatever the bullshit is. Um, and also maybe they are upset. I mean, I look at some of them and I'm like, I can understand why you don't feel attractive. I can see why you're feeling some kind of way. I mean, to be fair, they'll fuck you if the dick is big. So it doesn't really matter if you look bad. But I understand if you know you look bad and you're not desirable in the first place, compared to someone that you deem desirable who is also black, you're going to hate that black bitch because they're wanted more than you are.
Oh,
And that's when we want to get into the ideas of colorism, and it's like, oh, you think you're special because you're light skinned and you're more accepted, yada yada. I'm like, no, not one bit, because being closer to the enemy does not keep me safer. That's not how this works. Just because you're in the house preparing the meals and being warm all the time, that means I always have to keep someone warm, even when the fuck I don't want to. And
okay.
then, oh, okay, I'm pregnant again. Now I got to worry about my child. Oh, and you know what? Her father's going to want to rape this too. So now I have to worry about that. So the color, talking about a few different things. Let's go back. um, I can see why the aspect of white top, black bottom is just inherently racist, is because you're all automatically taking power away from the bottom, even if they are the one on top or even a power bottom. It's just white men are inherently seen as superior, and that's racist thinking. So if you automatically think that, and I understand if those are the facts of life, but if you believe in that, then yes, you have a racist idea of the world. And quite honestly, it's valid. White men are in power and they can act like they don't have power, but
Mm-hmm.
once
It's an
you,
act.
it's an act. You know you have power because the moment we leave this room, and this is why I'm sort of like in a debate with myself because it's like, oh, I would like to do more BDSM. That would be interesting to try. And it would be nice to do it with someone who is very skilled in it, who has done it for years. But the BDSM scene is white centered. So the demographic I'm going to find is white centered. So it's more than likely going to be a white man. Okay, I hope he's attractive because you know in that BDSM world they be some ugly. Oh,
I was just going to say, I would hate that I was going to say this, but I'm going to say you could go to the black BDSM side, but most of them are not.
I don't. I damned if I do.
You're damned if you
Damned.
don't, because
At that rate, it's like okay, but yep, I didn't mean to say that because everyone has their own beauty. But just to know that these, he says I shouldn't worry about that climate because that is an echo chamber and that isn't the narrative that would be created between us. But then I'm like, that's the thing. It doesn't matter that it's not the narrative that we would create between us, it's the undercurrent that's always there. And now you can also be very anti racist where you haven't said anything of the sort and that you actively deny that you would intake and you have had the opportunity, but you don't even want to engage with that, which is also interesting.
you avoiding the topic, avoiding discussing race and race play is a form of privilege. You, I that's that gets real deep and intricate when you start talking about uh, the correlation of BDSM, and it is a very white centered space, but most of the tools and acts in BDSM is master slave power dynamics, whips, chains, bondage, control, relinquishing control, all of these things that as soon as a black body enters, it becomes
Oh,
racial.
it's already keyed in,
It's
and
there.
they're uncomfortable to talk about it because they know it's there. It's like, oh, I don't, I'd rather not, like the ones in one of the articles down there, it's just like, oh, I'd rather not whip you. It just doesn't feel appropriate. And it's like, so you don't want to treat me the same as all the others?
That's
Why
that.
is that? Oh, it's because in your mind, you already see me as black. You've already defaulted to what the idea of my position is, and you don't want to partake in it. Yeah, even if you don't believe in that, where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not racist in that sort of way, but I can't play with you because I don't want to be seen as racist, or
That's
you're hmm
see how all this
exactly.
is swoop, pew, 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 pew. It's very tricky. And why? Because we make it tricky. We make it
Mhm.
where we have to second guess. This light is about to cut off on me. Hold on. Okay, great. We make it that way. And I also, this brought me to a perfect point of Mr. Jonathan Majors, of what you're
Oh
saying
yeah.
right here, right now. And I really think that I do have this little clip.
I would like to get to the point where your friends know what job I'm on and go, I think Grace is gonna be out of commission. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I won't.
No. Do you understand that? Because that team, that unit, right? Grace has to be in a certain mindset to support Coretta Scott King. You know who that is? That's Martin Luther King's wife. Michelle Obama, Barack Obama's wife.
I know. I'm not. I shouldn't have gone out. I'm
No,
sorry.
let me just lay it out for you, right? If I'm just gonna say this. My temper, my shit, my trauma, blah, all that said, right? And I'm not saying I'm a great man, a great man. I am doing great things, not just for me, but for my culture and for the world. That is actually the position I'm in. That's real. I'm not being a dick about it. I didn't ask for it. I've worked, and that's the situation. The woman that supports me, that I support, that needs to be a great woman and make sacrifices the way that man is making for her and for them ultimately. Last night, 2 nights ago, you did not do that. You did not do that.
I'm sorry.
Which took away from the plan. And the plan is everything. If it was just you in the house drunk, maybe I could have swallowed it. Or I would have felt bold enough like, oh, babe, let's just go to bed. Which I said, I'm just going to go to bed. I'm not hungry, blah, 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 blah. Because Grace isn't here. Why? She was drunk. Why else? She was clogged by whatever was going on. You know what I mean? Fine. I can take that. Fine.
But anyway, it was him talking about, he was telling the white girl that he wanted a Coretta Scott King. He needed her to be correct. A Coretta. And
Now, how's she gonna do that?
That took the community, my black community, baby, by storm. They don't like that. Not Coretta, not that one. How do you feel about that? About his comment?
I mean, Coretta was a ride. She was a ride or die. Like, she was there in support.
Mm-hmm.
I understand maybe what he was trying to allude to. Like, you really want her to be. I don't know, because he's fucking making good, right? Like, he's doing that now, right?
Is he fucking up? Do we know?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, because you know Hollywood's full of bullshit. But also Megan is who she is. She's done her own. Everyone plays their game the way they need to. So personally, if I'm supposed to go off of the narrative that I'm seeing online, then Jonathan Majors is using this blackness. He's manipulating blackness to gain not only favor within his community, but also to somewhat utilize the white capital. Like, because Martin Luther King is a great man, I guess, and Coretta would be, the woman to a great man, and white people love bringing up Martin Luther King. They respect that for whatever. And I guess we're supposed to have this level of association, but I mean, if you are one of these high-level narcissists, then I don't know. I don't know really how to feel about it. It feels very sticky, and I don't know. That's a hard one for me.
I'm gonna tell you what I feel.
Okay.
It wasn't hard for me when I heard it, when I seen it. I knew exactly what was happening. And I'm gonna tell you what's happening, what was happening. It's not about Coretta being an amazing woman. It's not about Coretta being a ride or die. And you can see the clues from Jonathan Majors. Okay. Jonathan Majors is very civil rights era, is very slave aesthetic with how he dresses, how he moves. He gives very Mississippi slave all the way up to all the way up to Booker T. So okay, lock that in. Then he's with this white woman. Okay, already lock that in. Then you get into this whole debacle with this bitch, and the recordings drop of you telling her that you need a Coretta Scott King. They're definitely into race play, and he's into it to a dynamic of he wants this white bitch to be like a black bitch. I don't want a black bitch, but I know I want your whiteness to encompass what a black bitch can encompass. I want that, but in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I want ooh.
Speak it.
Woo! This is when I was finna. That's why I put in the notes. I correlated this civil rights kink with Nazi fetishism, with all of these things, because it all correlates to it's more the people. Race play is deeper than just being called a nigger. Race play is deeper than just being a little white slip or big dick, or big white dick. Y'all, this is everybody want to say it's psychological, it's traumatic, it's historical, it's all of these things tied into one. And I see you want to say something. Do you want to say something?
Oh no, keep going, keep going.
Okay. It's all those things tied into one. And what was funny is when he went on the interview after he lost the trial and he was talking to Gayle King, and then he asked him, how has Megan Good been in your life? And he said, he laughed and he said, oh, she's like a Megan Good. I mean, she's like a Coretta Scott King. She's like, my Coretta. Yeah, my Coretta. I was like, oh, this nigga is bold. He don't give a fuck like that. For real. Honestly, he's playing race play, civil rights style in y'all face, but out saying it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I can't tell too much, but him telling that white woman that he wants her to be like Coretta, that's deep. Because I would love to know what kind of kinky shit they got into. It low key turns me on to think about it.
Well, I mean, because I'm automatically going to the meme of him, and that's scrunched up face. I'm here for that. For whatever reason, I'm triggered, and I'm like, yes. What Alabama town do I need to be in? What braids do I need to put in? Grease scalp, whatever the fuck it is that we need to play into. But that's neither here nor there. I do like that you brought it up, connecting it to even just more than just like race play, because the idea of race play is just, it's bullshit because race doesn't exist, but we know what we're talking about when we say it. And then you have the aspects of, well, what about those that are being Nazis and Jews? And well, those aren't races, those are demographics. I mean, because the ones that I remember seeing, like when I see Jews, Nazi of that era, I can see the differences to a degree, but you're also like, oh, but you're still white. So I guess this is white race play altogether. But the trauma that you want to experience, well, you can experience it again. The experience that you want to have is this hateful
historical reenactment.
Yes, like, oh, okay, you can just, so you want to go to the, so you want to be fucked and threatened to be sent to the gas chamber, or okay, where does that everything like that, where is it stemming from? We're looking at now the traumas of, and why does it hit sexuality so hard? Like, where's that urge and that desire to receive something so frightening?
Because sexuality is the only safe place you can exhibit the things that you really want to do.
It's true. Valid. Yes. I like that.
You can't just go out and gas a bitch in a gas chamber. You can't just go out and hang a nigger if you want to. Well, in most states.
Yeah. Yep. Is the bedroom or the dungeon, whatever, you are safe to explore those dark aspects of your mind and those needs. Like, I also have I'm gonna say it. Like, I do have like rape play fantasies. Now,
Mhm.
personally, I already know that's scary. Just based off of just how it all works. To have
Right.
someone want something from you that they're going to take it is like, oh, it's scary. And they might leave you for dead or they might kill you before or after.
Oh,
Doesn't really matter.
oh.
Doesn't really matter.
Let's not get into
So
necrophilia.
yeah, it's just like they just want what I got. And my ego is hungry for that. It's
Uh-huh.
like, oh yeah, I would love for someone to want me so badly. Like, and that's the animal part of me as well. Because if we're gonna look at animals, I mean, you look at the animal kingdom, it's all rape at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, some of them are receiving pleasure. You can hear it in the cries and the moans. And some of them are designed to, you know, fool the penis into inserting
Uh-huh.
because it's so corkscrewed and painful. It's just put your nut in there and leave, please. Like there is no pleasure here. Just unload.
Just
So to
do it.
know, just finish it. It's to know that that is also in our base coding and our sexual trauma experience. Not saying that we, come from ducks or anything, but we all come from the same source, and
Yes.
it's all driving the same kind of energy. It's submission and dominance, the yin and the yang, the positive and the negative. One has to give and the one has to gain. And the rape play kind of stems into like the same area because it's wanting to be degraded and taken control of. But the thing about me, which is a little different, is, or at least I deem it different, is that I would love if someone tried to take something from me.
Mm-hmm.
I would love if you tried it. It gives me more of a reason to do what I want to do next. And when you reverse roles, people don't like that when they're the domineering one
Ooh,
and they realize they lose. So my whole fantasy is dominating the thing that wanted to dominate me and making you cry harder. So,
that's
what
happening.
is your intention in all this bullshit? What's your intention when you engage with like taboos that cross the boundaries of safety and personal persecution and danger? What is Why do we have that acceptance of violence? Why do we want violence when it comes to sexual activity, or even like when porn? Why does it always showcase these very, like, I hate to bring other porn stars into it, but it's like, you know, Yardy and
I'm glad you
sometimes,
brought it up.
sometimes, and we can get into the Mandingo fantasies that are connected to that. But Yardy and to a degree Fat Rabbit, I think he's more softer, but he still gets pretty rough. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it. But
People hit me up with that too. Come fuck me hard. When you're describing how you want me to fuck you, no, because that and it's not even more so of me thinking of race from that point. It's me, bitch. Maybe once I get there, I don't want to fuck you like that. Maybe you not giving me what I and hate fuck. That's really not a thing for me. That's a thing that exists. Yes, people can hate fuck and it's sometimes it's hot to watch, I guess. But me, I can't.
that's just rape at that point.
Oh,
That's all that is. You you hate that you can't have it, so you took it. There's no love there, just pure domination. And if you want it, I can't judge you for it completely, but I do want to know why you think you desire that. Why don't you think you desire something a little more intimate and respectful to your being. Because if it's true rape play, then, and you're a bottom, then you're willing to be destroyed anally or have your throat destroyed. I mean, even if there's no insertion of their penis, you are willing to have your body destroyed in some way. So it's telling me you kind of hate yourself. As to why, I'm not sure why. That's the healing you got to go on.
Why is the question. A question that I love to ask because it just keeps coming back.
Well, and it's hard to get an answer because everything is subjective and individualized. So it's like we can be into the same thing, but it isn't the same why. It's just slightly skewed.
This is why I live kind of out loud with certain things like this, because number one, the main reason is I'm very fucking attitude to a lot of shit. Second reason is ain't nobody finna come catch me up on no shit later, like try to expose me.
No,
That
bitch.
doesn't expose me.
It was out.
You can't dox me, bitch. Is this on? Let me wake it. You bitches can't dox me. Try it.
Self-employed, baby.
Please try it. I probably got 12 addresses. We're in different states across the country.
Yes, I'm so mad.
Huh? What? Y'all don't. You think you know, you don't, but you can't try it. So I live. People tell me, oh, you should have, switched, split, do an anonymous page and alt, or do no, not doing all that. I'm not double lifing it. And the only other page is the Good Weirdos, and that's just because it's a brand and me. But the Good Weirdos is me. Me is the Good Weirdos. We are one. Yeah. One of one. Number one. Only one. Thank you, Beyonce.
Because if we decide, what you bringing up?
Oh no, I wanted you to speak, but I was trying to see what the hell this is, and it says I want to go back to examine the flip side to this race play scenario that I mentioned previously. There are many white men in the LGBTQ community, for example, who have a huge fetish for being dominated by black men. From my personal experience, I think I've lost count of the number of white men, usually older white men in their 50s and over, who begged me to dominate them. Begged.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
On apps like Growler and Scrub, please dominate, fuck me. It's not an uncommon introductory message that I've received from many white men who usually either allude to or explicitly state the fact that they want to be completely used by my big black cock. I'm aware that even in being asked to dominate or violate them in some way, the idea is for them to be in control. You just what we're talking about, just what you said, even when they say come fuck me, I want your black seed, your black nut, that's control.
Like you want. Yes, I know you want.
I want you to fuck me like this. I don't give a fuck what you want.
What about what I want, bitch? And it certainly isn't you and I love that the age demographic is noted there because it's noticing like late 40s, definitely 50s, 60s. It's if we're going to be thinking about the time frame, the good little Jim Crow energy, then it makes sense. These possibly men that have never had any sort of interaction with anyone of difference, quite honestly, outside of the sexual services they give to maybe some young black tops, for sure. They have no other context for them, but they still want to be dominated. And maybe they have had when they were younger, they've had experiences, but as they've gotten older, they become more feeble and desirous and more parasitic. So now they're demanding these things because they're fiending for it. but
Yeah.
you, like you were a hungry whore in the beginning, and it was more probably easier to get it because you were actually cute. But now you're probably messed out and real pathetic. So you think you can, gain from younger men, which is why it's important to, I mean, younger men are going to be sexual. They're on Twitter. The best we can do is educate them on what they should look out for and maybe how they should sexually practice. That's all we can do. But the ones that do get caught up that were horny enough and parallel in connection with, like, they're horny enough but also kind enough to give their body to someone who might not even be of worth, who
Mm,
isn't of worth. That's a good thing. That's a sweet thing. That's so nice of them. Like, I've been there. I was what, 18 when I lost my virginity, and I lost it to someone nice who was my age. And then once 19, 20 hit, my hormones were just real crazy. Yeah, I was breeding a lot of holes. Oh, it
yeah.
was a mess.
Yeah.
Oh, it was dangerous.
18 to 21-year-old me was
Oh God. And I can look back and yeah, I'm gonna say, oof, I was sad. I, I was in need of something,
uh
and I, yeah, I ain't got shit to say about it. Oh well. But after a while, you grow out of that phase because one, it's about who you breed with, and if you were continually breeding with low levels, who are
mm,
just iris and come from greedy backgrounds, notably older white men who are probably closeted as well and now just came out of the closet in their late age, but now it's so late where it's like, unless you kept up with that football build you had. Because, yeah, I've had some white men where you're like, you still got it.
hmm.
You're still stacked. Lovely. We can do it. And then there's the ones that are like, ooh, you weren't married either, were you? You just couldn't have anything. And I'm sorry about that. I'm very sorry about that.
Woo!
And you give it as charity because honestly, once you get out of the sad phase, you're like, well, that was real compassionate of me to give so willingly.
Right.
Because some of these white men, not all of them are pathetic. Many of them are actually real kind. You're just
Hmm.
like, oh, well, I do actually appreciate your energy. And you seem to actually want like a weird friendship. Um, and you're kind of introverted anyway, so it's not like you have friends. So I can't. Mm, it- Complexities. There's too many things.
That's the next part of this because I'm telling you, complexities. That's the next part of this series. It's gonna have to be a whole new episode. I'm
Hmm.
sorry because that is exactly what we've been talking about. You see how we've discussed this shit and it's been complex, how shit has been overlapping, shit has been rooted in this and sprouted off of this and
Because it's too easy to say here's an article and here is why that happens, and it's like, okay, I'm glad you read an article to figure some shit out you could have found out on your fucking own. I mean, it's not that difficult to think about it, but I'm glad you have that validation from that scholarly article written by a white man. And again, we're coming back to you needing validation from an article written by a white man or even an Asian, something that you could have did on your own by just asking people what the issue was. Like I was 18, actually, no, I was much younger. I was like 16 talking to older men, but also noticing that it was kind of weird that a lot of these men, regardless of race, wanted my body. And the ones that did want my body, either they were specific about what they wanted from it, ass typically, I already know what I got. But then the race portion of it, you're like, well, that's new. Sometimes my younger self can see that as propping up. Of course, my young self is like, oh, they like me because oh, my skin's nice for them. Oh, that's lovely. Now, mind you, I'm not insecure about it. I come from a family where I was made to feel beautiful. So there is no self-hatred for me. Like I already know I was beautiful when I came out the womb. Now, does that have to do with aesthetics? Yeah, I was a cute little baby. That was nice, but it had more to do with my internal.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about that for me. So I don't hate myself. Confused? Definitely. But there's layers to why I'm confused about myself. Anyway, I ask my own questions about how this sexualization and this racialized form of looking at things happens. And I just ask those questions and I invest myself in that. All these other people are just now learning about it. And it's like, how old are you? Like I understand people progress at different rates and exposure also changes things, but it's like, damn,
You,
you didn't have any sort of thought on your own?
no, they don't. And
And still needing thoughts. And still needing thoughts from other people to even validate their own existence, even though you could just be investigating and actually going. I've gone to white men's house and like, so you tell me why you like this. And they're more than ready to answer. Why? Because they want black dick at that time. Like you can use what you have in order to gain some answers. And they're always going to call you and come back around because they're always hopeful that you're going to give them something. But, you know, everyone works differently. I know how to work. I know what to do. Like I know my privileges in life and I use them for pretty much greater good things. Because honestly, it's all stupid at the end of the day. It sucks that
exactly.
I get propped up for whatever reason. It sucks that I might even be pegged down. Who knows what the scenario is? Because I'm not dark. Some people want dark, and that's deemed masculine. And
Huh.
I might not be masculine mainly because I'm moving my hands around. Um,
But I talk like
breath- like, come on, you gonna get the hands. I'm not Italian, bitch.
I talk like that.
Like you're gonna get this, but there's benefits to who you are as a being. You just have to know how to utilize them. But they don't want to. They Many people recognize that what is attributed to them is fetishized, and it
Oh,
feels kind of bad to only be denoted to a beautiful state if you fit within this paradigm. If I'm making sense.
yes.
It's like, okay, I'm I'm projecting now, but it's like some people on Twitter where they're complaining about race play, and you look at them and you're like, oh, you could fit all of the standards that you're talking about right now. And it's like, yeah, it sounds like dark-skinned men, they get the short end of the stick, but not the ones I see. They seem to get a lot of things. Why? Because one, unlike you don't try to fix what is lacking in you to gain what you want from whatever bodies you think you deserve or you don't deserve. I don't know what you want actually.
Right.
I don't even know if you're single or if you're partnered. It doesn't even really matter. But you look pressed because you are not benefiting from something that you are comparing yourself against. It's like, wow, why aren't we getting this? Why am I not receiving what you're receiving? It's like, because one, you are different, and two, they are better than you. That's it. It's not even trying to be a dig or a read. It's like domination and submission. There's a Zion a dude on Twitter was talking about, as if I was stupid, he's just talking about erotic capital. And I'm like, well, yeah, there is erotic capital. You should know that not when you come out the womb, but you learn this in grade school and high school. Like, who's the attractive people around you? Do they get benefits from the teacher? Do they get benefits from the friends that are around them? I always had friends.
Hey,
I always received benefits from teachers. Why? because I wasn't a bad kid. So that's one thing. That's the base. But
Thank you.
two, I was desirable for whatever reason people decide to project onto me, kids and teachers, whatever that's because to be totally honest, now that gotten older, I also understand it. I'm like, the teachers see what you can become when you get older. I'm 15, getting ready to move into high school. I just started working out. They see what I'm becoming. They can say those are inappropriate relationships, and yes, they are inappropriate relationships. But I know the thoughts that they're having. It's the things that we're not going to talk about yet.
Oh, after that. Oh, we gonna talk about it
We'll talk about that.
because, oof,
Like
Lord.
that's another level. That's another even topic. But the circling it all the way back, because yeah, I segue too much. um, Connecting it back to the 50-year-old men that want the things, that want to dominate, to have the control. Sexually, they know what they want and they think they can have it from you.
Mhm.
And if you're weak enough within yourself, horny enough, either one, then you're going to give them exactly what they need for them to feel powerful. But it's never, ever about them losing anything because they ultimately know, as we were talking about earlier, what power they do have. Because the moment you don't give it to them, then all of a sudden you're a nigger.
Uh-huh.
Or you're just an immigrant. I don't know why I was an immigrant all of a sudden. He's like, but you're just an immigrant anyway. And I'm like,
Oh, well,
sir,
bitch. What are you?
I'm very confused. I'm
Yes.
very confused. But when we go back to just the low level, the parasitic beings inside them, it's like, so yeah, you were willing to fuck something that you didn't even recognize deserving respect.
You better wake it up. You better wake it up. I had to take the hat off of that. That'll preach. You was willing to fuck something that you, cause ooh,
So
y'all.
like let's talk about like where does that stem from? Is that the animal again just losing control and wanting to just let loose, just feed something that it wants to take control over? Because sex is still about control unless it is about actively trying to create a union, trying to create a child. I mean, gays shouldn't be fucking each other in the assholes, but we do. Like
Oh,
we can't make anything. we
not a
we
but a
can't do
mess.
that. Just a mess, like a creamy, maybe sometimes whatever other chocolate sickles that can be. You just make a mess,
Yeah.
and I enjoy it. I enjoy getting my.
Huh? They say that doo doo got voodoo, but I'm gonna leave that alone. Alone.
And that's another conversation we need to have at some point too, because I want to know where that comes from.
Ooh, they say that voodoo got voodoo, but okay.
So race play. It's it's all race. Like kind of like segueing all the way back to the domination aspect when we came back to Yardy and Fat Rabbit and just many porn stars in general when it comes to aggressive sexual expression. Nothing wrong with that.
Why
But
is it okay for black people to like that and not white people? Cannot can black people not fetishize their own race?
you know they do. You already know. That's why they call them black kings. Like they're trying to prop them up either because they know that inside they're inferior to whatever they deem superior. So they're like, well, let me call him Black
Oh,
King. He deserves to be called that. And I deserve
oh.
to be called that too. I deserve to, you know, feel good about myself. So I need to raise my level up with the language that I'm using. And you know what? I respect mantras, bitch. It works. It truly does work. But now you are wanting only black dick. I mean, you are race playing yourself because you
Oh,
want thug dick, and only black men can be thugs in this particular demographic. They're so willing to allow stereotypes to sit upon them and adopt them, and then they use them in their own sexual playtimes. But they don't like when others use it against them. And we are all hypocrites. It's understandable. But stop pretending like you don't notice it. And if you don't notice it, then you're just
a damn fool.
like, if you don't notice that you're doing the same sort of thing, but it's okay because it's not someone else well, no, someone is still taking control over you
Because
because
you're using it in the gaze of whiteness. If you want to be real, you're viewing black people view black people from the gaze of whiteness,
mhm,
because you have to constantly, and then this gets tricky because you have to constantly reaffirm, like with a
mhm,
black king. But on the flip side, because I guess the argument there would be there's no space and whiteness is prominent and whiteness is rule the world and whiteness is boom, 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 all valid. See, all the things I just said out of my mouth are all true. both,
mhm.
both ends of them. How, how do we see? The solution is number easy.
Yeah,
Everybody mind your fucking business.
it's
Secondly,
yeah,
because and you're gonna say, well, don't put it out here. Don't you can do whatever you want behind doors. Don't be putting it on social media. You don't have to let everybody know. People used to tell me this a lot. You don't have to let everybody know you're into race play. Just do it. Well, I hear you, but why? Why shouldn't I? Out of what reasoning?
mhm,
Nobody can ever. The only argument that there was no valid arguments. I would try to give them supportive arguments like, oh, is it because of representation? No, because representation is a lot of niggas out here fucking niggas. And it's not that I don't, I'm not for this episode is not for me to defend myself. I'm just talking about points.
mhm,
You're here because I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna
mhm,
fuck any race, whoever it just so happens to be in the moment. But even if I'm with a black person, it's not like my interest in race play is gonna go away.
mhm,
It's not like, oh, I'm with the black person now. No, I'm no longer ever gonna be into race play. No, I just probably won't be doing race play with them unless we bring a white motherfucker in or an Asian or a Latin, or unless we do some kinky role play shit. It's possible.
mhm.
But that wouldn't be the focus of that. Now, I don't know what questions people have for race play. What is the solution? They want you to stop doing it. Well, I know what black people want. They want you to be with black and only black and be masculine. Don't be faggots.
Don't be faggots. It's true. It's true. Don't be a faggot. I want you to be hyper masculine. I would like you to be what the white people say we are on national television. We are thugs. We are hoodlums. And we're homophobic. But you know what? I still need that booty hole. I'm gonna still need the thing that I know I shouldn't be wanting based on what y'all just said I shouldn't be having. And you know what's funny? It's all, of course, just an illusion. It's all just role playing at the end of the day. It's knowing that there is no actual solution because people want to complain.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily know I know what you're complaining about. And there are reasons. I've heard a few different reasons of like why you shouldn't show or express yourself out there. It's like one, your representation, you're showcasing a lifestyle that may support and enables other people, and it's like, well, it's already doing it. Then what? I
What do
don't know.
you mean?
I don't know what else if they're
What
gonna keep
I'm
doing
not
it.
it's gonna happen. If I'm doing it, I know by statistics somebody else is doing it.
And then to add that in, you're like, okay, if I'm to go your route and pretty much shame them, oh, you must not know how psychology works, even though you're putting up articles like you do. So you want to shame these people into submission so that they
There
can
it is.
hide these urges. But
There
if
it is.
you know anything about hiding and subduing urges and demons, you only empower the demon. If this is the issue, if this is seen as something devilish and disgusting, then you're only going to empower that demon more, and then it mutates into something more severe. I don't
Like,
know what it's like when.
for example, correlation of priests raping the little choir boys in the church for the and not just the priest, the pastor, black pastors too. Bishop Eddie Long
Okay,
in Atlanta.
all these, like, I don't even know if these are gay men anymore. Are they just straight men that are now so sexually repressed that whatever comes into their view they need to breed? And since boys are kind of closer to girls because of just the hormonal aspect, they're not fully matured yet. I don't know. I personally don't even fucking understand. Or unless these are gay men that are just subduing their own sexual urges. That's why they become priests in the first place. And then now, well,
Oh,
I can't control anything about myself. The more you try to subdue the sex, the more you are going to destroy yourself because it's not meant to be subdued. It is meant to be tamed and focused and refined, but you will mutate it and you will get things that are not what I would do personally. But there's some things that are questionable where you're like, oh, that's mutated to the point where you are good with destroying yourself and subsequently others around you and caring.
it's a quiet toxicity
Mhm.
that spreads, and I hate to say this word because fuck it, but cancer is like a cancer. Um, it's quiet. It moves quietly. It's the best way I can describe it because it's not going to be out loud. It's not going to be unless you get caught. Then boom.
Now,
Now for
why
some.
wouldn't anybody help him? Well, well,
Well,
first of all,
y'all wanted this motherfucker to suppress and not talk about first. Because I can't wait till we go into these other taboos because all of this just makes me want to knock onto this a little bit. But my thing with race play is I feel like I'm finna gas myself a little. Okay, fuck it. I'm somewhat of an innovator.
I
People
love it.
can't take me because I'm outspoken about it, but
Mhm.
I'm not stupid. I'm a higher level being intellectually and spiritually. I'm not saying I'm some fucking Zen master, but my third eye, it works. And I show depth to me. Other people who do race play and not look good. There's a lot of things that layer on to me that just keeps like, well, you can't call he's ugly. You know those or he looks like those type of niggas that would be into I nope. Well, he grew up with a white nope.
Nope.
My mama black, my daddy black, my grandmama black, my granddaddy black.
Hmm.
Black.
Like, what preconceived notions do you have about why I turned out the way that I did?
Please, that's the thing, because that's what it is. It
Because
is a lot of those.
you can list them off, and then we can say confirmed or deny. It's like, and once plenty are denied, it's like, okay, so now where did they come from? Oh, well, you're lying about something. You're not being truthful. And it's like, so now you're trying to switch it up because it doesn't fit what you want.
Exactly.
And
None of it.
sometimes it's not going to be that.
Maybe I'm just a crazy individual who who likes to experience things that I would say I could say that's not doing any harm, but then somebody's gonna find an intellectual bitch is gonna come through and tell me exactly how the representation of this and what I'm saying is doing harm to the to the
And
community.
they wouldn't be wrong
They
because at
wouldn't
the
be.
end,
They would
they wouldn't
be.
be wrong. They would be at the end of the day. It's true that you don't know what is harmful and what is beneficial. You never know. Like
But I
me,
know
me trying to save somebody's life. I don't know who I just saved. I don't know what they're up to. But it
look,
was a good thing that I did that, I guess. And now they've gone and committed whatever they needed to that also harmed another person. So we don't know what anything is going to do. We can assess and have some, scientific analysis or whatever the fuck it is and just determine probability and likelihood. But when you get right down to it, you can't control really anything or anyone's response. So the only thing that I believe you can do is, since we're living in this world of technology, and the parents need to just do their fucking job and monitor what their kids are doing, because that's the first thing. I know the internet is the wild west out here. Everything's up in there. I mean, I know I need to start changing my privacy settings on my Twitter because my asshole is just all over the place. And you know what? I don't need, I shouldn't have, I don't want to be influencing some child that is going to stumble upon my page and be like, you know what? I like this. And then they get a porn addiction.
that's
Because
that's that's not my problem.
and yeah, it's not my problem, quite honestly, because one, you shouldn't be on this bitch. Two, I'm going to give you something a little tasteful at the very least. And I'm going to give you a little bit of knowledge. I'm going to give you some quality, and I'm at least going to speak to you in a way that's like, let's figure out why you're here. And then let's figure out what you want. Because many of the sexual issues that we're hearing about from these Twitter analysts, these pseudo psychological analysts, whatever the fuck they believe they are, you're doing nothing to actively assist in helping outside of shaming. And
Mhm.
maybe your only purpose is, and I can respect the purpose, quote unquote, um, is bringing awareness to the activities of legitimate issues.
Mhm.
What someone is attracted to, yep, there's another black man with a white spouse. Okay, I don't care. That doesn't affect me. Okay, maybe this white spouse seems to have been abusing their black partner, drugging them up, and having more black people come over to drug and abuse. Okay, that's some information that would be useful for me. That's helpful to understand that that's going on.
That-
I've seen that before though, but I'm glad you're letting me know. Um, or just degrading others for their sexual habits that could be conscious or unconscious. They can be self-directed because it is hateful for themselves or because it is empowering. I can't say which one is which, but I do know that there are ways we can't take care of these things because we don't have the establishment or the opportunities to explore these avenues.
mm,
If we're going to really talk about a solution, then that means you have to get down and do the dirty work. And if it's sexual in nature, talk therapy only does so much. You can't talk away urges and instincts and drives. I have tried and I have seen, and it has led people into deeper drug addiction. It has led people into living sad lives where they have to be drugged again to where they can't actively live and maneuver through their life. So we don't have certain things that allow us to fix the problem or even try to refine it in any sort of way. That's why I see some of these sexual, retreats. I'm curious about those because it's like certain places, certain dungeons allow for certain things to happen. Acts can happen for sure, but if you have an intended act of what are you actually here for? And do you feel you have a problem? If you say, I think it's an issue for me because it isn't making me feel good, okay, we can work with that. We can figure out how to sexually unbind you to that. But that means it's going to be sexual in nature. And not everyone is willing to do that work. Why? Because it's always going to be the certain types, and you'll recognize them immediately. The the tantrics the tantrikas of our new age are just like, oh, sex and love, we're going on a retreat and we're going to have, masculine time with one another. And I'm like, okay, what are you guys learning? Are you guys learning deep breathing? Are you there to fuck? I think that's all you're there for. You're just there to fuck. There's not actual much healing you have to do. It's like, oh, well, I was real sexually repressed, which is a serious issue. But you've been a whore for about 10 years. I don't think you're repressed anymore. I just think you want to go to an orgy, and that's okay.
Just
But
walk in that.
call it what it is. Call this retreat an orgy. Don't say you're doing any sort of sexual healing through trauma, because there's actual people that are traumatized that have real raw sexual issues in their childhood where they're reliving their childhoods with their sexual mates. They're still sucking on their thumbs, wanting to be called certain names. And the only way that they can really open up is if they're on meth. How do you heal that? You want me to talk to you about it?
Oh,
Oh, there's some real other shit when it's like, oh, yeah, my uncle kept touching me and then my mom pimped me out. You want to
oh,
talk about that? That's going to be hard to talk about because you're just talking about it because you're still sexually living it. That's still driving you because that's what the trauma is. So you can't rewrite that with some magical words. I mean, you could. It'll take some time. Coding your mind with some words takes time. But when it's raw sexuality, you have to dig in that and actually pull it out. And that means someone has to sexually offer themselves. And also, that means the person that is wounded has to be sexually open to navigating it differently, where it's like, I have to give into a new sexual way of being. I have to view sex differently. And that's always going to be up to the individual. And you can't control what the individual is. And if their sexuality is so raw like that, you can't control what they want. They know what they want, or they think they know what they want, and they're going to go eat it. And you have to hope that they get tired of the meal. That's it. So solutions, I would like to discuss those. How do we, you know, change the minds of Black men that are subs for white tops and self-hating for, being in interracial relationships, and then it's automatically deemed racist because, well, oh, I really liked his skin color when I saw him. I'm like, well, that is a thing.
what? I, I,
It's hard. I mean, I've heard that. I like the contrast. That's usually the main one. It's like, oh, I like the light skin versus the dark skin. And I'm like, okay, it does aesthetically look good.
does look good.
Like there's no denying that. I mean, because color theory, all of that bullshit still plays into sexuality. It's like what looks good. We are still human beings. We still are drawn by our eyes. So it's going to be undeniable when you see something like that, and you're just mad that people enjoy it and
Angelic.
and jealous about it. I mean, I don't know why you would be jealous because you don't even have to compare yourself to that. unless you really want that. And if you do, but you want it in a clean way where you don't feel like you're hating yourself, I mean,
Mhm.
bitch, go to therapy on your own. God damn.
Now, as we circle back to race play, I would love to know what are into, because we could go on and on and on for this. Nobody has any good questions. And one day we need to do an after show live. After this
Mhm,
episode drops, we're gonna talk about that. So we can pose like questions, watch this bitch, see what's the feedback from it.
mhm.
Then one episode we can have live, and then have, and I'll be monitoring this shit because have people be able to comment in while we're actually talking.
They should get on camera.
Oh,
They
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 can pop
have
up on this bitch too now, huh?
they only should be on camera because you have so much to say, and sometimes I wonder, I'm like, are you even? I
Are
hope
you
you're
a
not
human?
black.
Are you
I
black?
Are you black? Because quite honestly, you sounding real white to me. You
Or,
sound like the oppressor.
or you sound, or they African?
Okay. Come on.
Am I? Don't do. Should I wake it up a little bit before I get out of this bitch? Yes. Africans
Mm-hmm.
don't like Black Americans. The good majority of them don't. I'm not gonna put all of them under this umbrella, but a good majority of them don't. They see us as akatas. Akata is like fucking an animal, like a hyena, just rabbit, just dog. They consider us as the slaves still. As the niggas who
Mm-hmm.
got caught.
Yep, I've heard
Um,
this.
I used to have
I've
a
seen
roommate
it.
that was African, and they would give me all the tea. And they lived in London for like 6 years, and all
Mhm.
this. They gave me all the tea. And then when I used to be on Clubhouse in all these rooms, it came to me that, yeah, you motherfuckers really hate us. Like,
Mhm.
and then they hate anything that's in the close proximity of whiteness. It's amazing, but you do all this hate, but you come over here trying to get all the
Mhm.
shit that we help you niggas get over here through that shit that we was doing in the 90s when what was that shit called? Fuck. Oh my god. When there was apartheid in Africa, Nelson Mandela was locked up down there, and then the niggas here was trying to find some sense of being of themselves. So they was locked back in with the niggas in Africa. And so, whoop, we got them over here getting degrees and scholarships and funding, and now we still out here looking assed out. But
Mhm.
mainly, it's a lot of Africans that's running these colorist pages.
That's been revealed. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've noticed it, and it's like even since I was young, I've heard the same narrative surrounding Africa, and I've heard it even from like Somali groups.
They
It's
don't
just
like us. They don't fuck with us like they don't fuck with us.
there's a superior in that proximity to whiteness, and even just the proximity to Africanness. It's like
Oh,
you
you see,
feel very
privileged,
privileged to be. I mean, you're still poor.
and you feel you feel, you feel, you feel privileged. Don't make me. I am a Sagittarius. What Jay-Z just said last night. When I get nervous, I say the truth. Look, don't make me start talking
Mhm.
for real. People
It's
who
like
know me,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna I'm gonna
Like
shut up.
to no, but I'd like to have a conversation and have questions, and I would like them to be on camera at the very least with their voice, at the very least, so I can hear
Please, we
what it
can do
is.
this for you. If you don't want to come on the camera, I can give you ghost. See how you just I'm just a voice. I'm just a voice
Because
here.
I have to hear it. I have to hear it in your voice to
Because
know
you're going to hear
that.
this. You're going to hear this. You are a self-hating nigga. See, I'm slipping into other accents. I almost slipped into the Indian there. Oops.
I can't.
You
Oh
hit
God.
yourself, nigga.
Hmm. It's like we can have a conversation. We can do the work. I mean, if you really want to build up this, I don't even know what your intention is. Do you want to save Black people?
They want to shame. They want to degrade. They want to put down and make sure and hawk themselves up like they're the better niggas.
But so ready to call people coons and
I don't
just
even know
every
that
racial.
word.
Like, come on now. Like you were doing the exact same thing as there's just no excuse for it.
I'm
But
gonna say
okay.
this. I'll have a conversation with these Africans who have something to say, but I probably ain't finna validate any shit you saying. Now, a Black American get on here, I will listen to you, and that can sound prejudiced, whatever, whatever. I will listen to a Black American's argument because we've been here. You lived here. You know this. You know America. You motherfuckers that just got first generation, even second generation. Shut the fuck up. Y'all don't know shit. You think you know. I don't go over there talking about how y'all be running rules in Rwanda and motherfucking Uganda.
You, I can't.
I don't know what the fuck y'all doing over there. I don't claim it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't care. But see, y'all care because you're trying to get over here where the shit's popping off.
I guess I have like more of an issue to where you. I hate. I already know how this is gonna sound, and I hate to say it, but it's like the scammer aspect of all of it.
It is a scam. Oh, the African prince.
It's just like, okay, I mean, I don't want to say that that's what y'all doing, but oh Lord, you want to provoke these conversations or provoke some kind of narrative. What is your use for it if you're not even, well, since you don't give a fuck about the community you're talking about, I'm still confused about what your point is in the end. Like you're trying to destabilize an already fractured community. And then you have the Black folks who, if they are doing the same bullshit, then you're even doing it more so and trying to say that you're promoting awareness and promoting, I don't think you're healing, you're not healing. You're just promoting awareness because some have claimed, oh, I would have never known about this. I'm like, oh, well, then you must be a child. So, okay, that's great. I'm glad you're hearing it now, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
What else what are you going to do about that now that you know about the thing? I mean, I guess the only real thing you heard not to do is don't fuck white men, and that's okay. Do what you want to do, but to believe in this false reality where people don't care about you. I want to believe. It's sticky. It's complex. If I was to continually believe in this racist rhetoric of they don't give a fuck about you, all of them, then yeah, that is actually very sad. Sad behavior. You're going to move very differently. You're going to be hopeless and you're always going to be depressed. And everyone has their own racial biases regardless. It's just going to happen naturally, and you're probably going to have racial bias against yourself if you're the most depressed because
Oh,
that's just how it's been set up. Like
oh.
I think it's called 100 People. They did an experiment. Um, I think two people got out of a car, one white, one black, and people are supposed to shoot the one they think has a gun. And you already know who they were shooting at, and even the black folks.
I was gonna say.
Like you've already been coded with language and just all of the bullshit. So what are we actively going to do as a society? And unfortunately, we're not monolithic, so we can't help each other because we're not all the same. I'm from the fucking north. I'm real different from someone from the south, but my grandmother's from the south, so I can relate. But what are we going to do to feel like we're unified? Also knowing that not all of us are going to be together in this, and we're not going to move forward together because our intentions are different.
Mm-mm.
if you want to be a race or you want to be a prejudiced black, then that means only black everything. Good luck. That's not the world you live in. But I also understand that and I can respect the idea. But there are those that actually just want unification of good people. And it would be nice if it was all black. But you know what? The ones that actually say, I want good things for all of us too, cool, come on in, but I will kick your ass out if you pop off too wrong. So solutions, that's what I would ideally like to get on next. Awareness, great. Someone else can do that. They can be the armchair enthusiast. They can have all the theories. They can have all of the talking points. But when it comes down to practice, who is going to set that up and who's going to be sacrificing their body for the greater good and taking all the stones and all the hits because one, they know you're not going to do the work for it. I know I certainly don't want to because none of these bitches deserve it, quite honestly. But
I'm an incidental martyr.
yeah, it's like just the shit that I want to do just coincides with the movement.
It
So it's
just,
like,
yeah, existing authentically. A lot of you bitches would be, but if you don't want to be authentic, you're ashamed of being judged. I mean, of course, even I have moments
mhm,
of that. I have moments of like, okay, why are you doing this? Why you don't got to say this. You don't have to put this out here.
yeah,
Even this episode, was telling you earlier, it was draining for me to even do this because I'm like, I'm so sick of having to. It seems like I was defending myself or explaining for who I am.
mhm,
And somebody wrote on one of my fucking walls, is like, oh, they love you, by the way. They, Moray, they love you on this. They love your insight. I get a lot of messages. I do
oh
about,
God,
yeah, they love your insight. They love. I will show you the messages. I swear, I wouldn't lie.
oh God,
But it was like, thank you for talking about having a real, authentic conversation about this. And I got this. We're supposed to do this episode like 3 or 4 times now. And the second time, I was just like, it was too much for me. I don't know what. And then that next day, somebody wrote the message on the wall like, "Oh, well, I really love this conversation, and I love Moray's viewpoint, blah blah blah." And just giving like, "Yes, I appreciate this." And I was like, "Well, bitch, I wish you would have said this a few days ago when I was feeling like I can't do it."
yeah,
Because it was like, ugh. And again, because I know I'm putting myself
mhm,
out here in this way, like that's why I didn't want to come with any. I don't come on with scripts. I don't come on with. I try to have a flow, but when I do that, I feel like it's too rehearsed. And
mhm,
I need to be just answer in the moment. I need to pull it out of my ass and see what's real.
yeah, spirit,
So it is what it is. You get what you get, but it's gonna be the truth. I tell you that.
yeah,
But yes, we've been on this bitch for 2.5 hours,
yeah,
and this will continue. Um, Race play is always going to be in the conversation when it becomes to kink, and even moving forward for to taboos, or even this. We're going to do a second part of this. I want to do that question and answers. After this drops, I'm going to
mhm,
put out like, yeah, we're going to do a live stream straight to fucking Twitter.
mhm,
Jump in on this bitch, comment, and I can put the link in there where you can jump in the fucking just like this. Boop, you can be one of the blocks up here to
mhm,
talk. We want to hear what you got to say. Ask the questions. Ask me. You have me right here
mhm.
to ask anything.
It's
And
like truly. Have a conversation. Like I would like to see people actually ask you questions in real time, not trying to pull up any sort of bullshit article that's going to affirm their point of view. It's like actually ask a human being what is going on in their mind
Right.
with the thing. Like actually do that instead of trying to find a gotcha or a the fuck? I mean, do you feel very empowered right now? I thought we were trying to have a conversation, right? Or no. No, you wanted to have a little moment where you feel empowered and superior over someone else. But it makes sense you would want that. That's why you're irritated about the whole idea of it. But I'm just pulling things out of my ass because I also like to aggravate and be like, oh no, your reality doesn't make any sense either. It's okay. I'm I don't know. I guess at the end of all this, what do you want people to understand when it comes to the activity of race play and those that engage with it? What do you feel, yeah, who do you feel engages in race play and what do you want people to take away from it that do?
I feel a lot of people engage. A lot of people engage in race play, more people than actually admit or think or even probably know that it's kind of a form of race play. Now, for the people that actively know that they're into race play, honestly, truthfully, if I'm speaking my honest heart, I want these people to know that honestly, it's fine. I do. I mean, you're not a terrible person for being into this because of the world we live in. We inherited this. And now for some reason you're interested in it, whatever experience, life path, shit you saw, shit turned you on, didn't turn you on, whatever it affected you that you want to turn that trauma or even for the white people that hate into something sexual that you can exhibit sexually
Mhm.
if you do it with consent and if I really believe that that's you and whoever or whomever's however many fucking people you're with is right to do so. I really do. If you're not causing harm to people, if you're not taking advantage. See, and that's what people can't distinguish the separation of the play
Mhm.
from knowing that racism and all this shit is real. Obvious is we know that it's real. We know what the power of white privilege and white supremacy has. Us not indulging in the natural feelings that we feel pertaining to like, ooh, I wouldn't meet mine called a nigger today. That natural feeling, me suppressing it is not going to change it. Me not, me suppressing it is not going to stop racism. Me suppressing it, because has it? I mean, race play ain't been, it's always existed, keep in mind, but it hasn't been prominent. It hasn't been a thing that's been seen and has, before it came out on the scene like this, has racism stopped?
No, I still see it.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to see
He's still here.
because and their argument probably be that we're building upon it. I think that we're just like bitch and whore and faggot, all these things
Enjoy the
can
faggot
be
one.
claimed nigger, even though they see what's the difference? Huh?
Mhm.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
I get what the argument is. Trust me, I get it. I get the slavery. I get, and I'm not diminishing any of this, but I feel that taking the power with nigger, even in this small instance, because it's not giving me, well, it's not, I was gonna say it's not giving me money, but it is. um, I really just feel like just it's a lot to unpack. I know, and I didn't just pop on the scene doing this. It's not like I everything that I do low key looks chaotic, maybe, but it's very strategic in my own mind and how I move, even how I started OnlyFans and what I exposed to now.
Yeah.
I would love to know who's people who are very against this, any legitimate conversations that want to be had, questions that people who may hate race play and people who are questioning race play, people, any questions you have for me, would love it. I'm cool with Harlem hookups. I was gonna ask him to be on this episode,
Oh.
but I didn't do it. Now, for the one with the question and answers, I would love for him to pop in, and I'm gonna ask him. I will definitely hit him up to see if he would pop in just to give his perspective because he's more known than me in this arena, and but his viewpoints on race play is different than mine.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not what you may think. A lot of people may think, and I have my opinions on that too.
Okay. Oh, I'm
So
curious.
yeah, it's not like my viewpoint. So he would give a whole different viewpoint of somebody who's actively into race play, but not how I maneuver.
Okay.
So I think it'll be a very interesting conversation. I'll say that to the at least. It'll be interesting. So do you have anything else you want to add? Closing remarks. You have the floor.
I mean, I feel like, yeah, we could probably go on and on about this, and it would just be, circumlocution. It would just continue because there is no result. There's just more awareness of what things can be, what things could, what things we want and should be. But I am curious more because it is not just about race play, it's a lot about excuse me, I'm burping up a storm. Repression and aggression and violence that a lot of people, I think, latch onto a part of this practice or
Mhm.
whatever, and the abuse of the body and the degradation and the domination. Because when I look at just even the Black community, sections of the Black community, me personally, I know I've mentioned this before, but I was raised in a household where we just don't say nigga. That's just not
Mhm.
what we do. My grandmother being so militant and pro-Black, she just wasn't about that. And her being so light-skinned, it just didn't make sense either. She was just like, oh no, that just doesn't, it's always going to mean the same thing to me. It's just, there's
Right.
a power in the word. Even now, my comfortability with it is the power in that word. So when I see Black people use it, especially in some of these videos, and it's hot to hear it, but you're like, is that race play? Is you saying that word that you reclaimed allegedly? Because you didn't necessarily reclaim it because it was never yours in the first place.
Oh,
It was bestowed upon you, actually, burned upon you, um, branded. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. You were branded with it, and then you say, you know what, I am this thing, and you know what, I'm taking that power back. But you still get pressed when other people use it, so that means it's not yours, and you're still weak to the word.
mm-hmm.
You also know the association with the word as well. When I hear nigga, I'm thinking of a particular type, and I have said I would love, I would love a real nigga, but I, the association I have with it is probably the same as anybody else's. So thus, I'm contributing to race play, and I think Black people play into race play so much more often as well. They want lighter, yeah. I mean, plenty want lighter skinned men. They want the thick, light skinned boy, or that light skinned girl with the long hair. who is still somewhat getified, whatever the fuck terminology they use.
I like that.
Just
Gotta-
getified, like, and I'm not suburban. I'm certainly not from the hood, but I'm a good in between. Like I went to nice academies and schools, but I was still low middle class, and my people are activists naturally. So it's not like I am close to whiteness in regards to like having full association, but I was at least brought up to be able to be in those spaces. Like
Mhm.
I know what white people are doing when I'm around them. So I'm privileged in that way. But when it comes to just race play as a whole, I think Black people do it with themselves, just by with the language that they use and the desires that they have. And the entire world, and as you've mentioned, it's not anything new. We've been doing this. Like just the fact that you come from a different world, a different country that you consider a kingdom or a world on its own. It's you want that racial category. You either don't want that racial category to create a child with, or you do want that racial category that somehow spurs some excitement in you. Like you can go to Japan or Thailand, and I mean, lots of Asia, and they hear black in very particular ways as well. Like
Mhm.
they may have no association with black people whatsoever, but oh, they seem real hungry for it.
I
And
can. Mhm. Go
know,
ahead.
know nothing about it, but porn, another thing connected with race play, it's categorized in a way that we can search for our meals so much easier. It's like you go down the list, like let me go to Pornhub real quick. I'm gonna just do this real quick. And I haven't been on Pornhub in a minute.
Oh
Mm.
shit, my video may pop up.
Oh, let me see. Oh, and look at this. See, and then look at this little person. We got categories, and I love me some small porn. That's cute.
Ah,
Okay, and I'm just gonna go to gay because that's what I do.
me too.
We're going to go to gay. Let's look at all of the categories. We have bareback, twink, straight guys, daddy, group, big dick, gay, rough sex, cream pie, cartoon. Okay, real standard. It's like real interesting archetypes. But then you have amateur, you have Asian. We're just gonna skip through and go to bear. They have black, which was ebony.
Right.
uh, we got some chubby. Let's go. Oh, but remember, Japanese and Asian are different because there's a different quality, I guess. Um, Latino, interracial, rough sex, vintage, just varieties. You can choose the kind of thing that you want to jack off to. It all comes back down to your personal taste and what you want to see and why you want to see that. I don't know why. I mean,
Oh,
I
let's go
grew up with
deeper. Hold
yeah.
on.
Mm,
If you want to go deeper in categories, let me pull up some shit like hmm uh gooning, fisting, gaping, poppers, cuckold, cum, uh piss, scat,
okay.
group, orgy, bukkake, uh the list goes on and on. I can get even more taboo.
Hmm.
Family.
Uh, okay.
Don't do size play, age play.
Even that one. Shoot, Lord, that my experience with age play, that was interesting. That's definitely holding space for somebody. That is holding space for someone who wants to be a child, or I don't know what's going on. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. He was real cute, and he was. I have. I got this energy that clearly says you can be open with me, and I'm probably not going to think you're too weird.
Mhm.
And it's just always been like that. So I'm like, okay, I can try it out. We're adults, so I'll see what this is about. And it was interesting seeing someone either revert back or act. I'm not sure
Right.
where
Right.
it was. And then the things fusing with the adult language. It's not even adult language. Like you're still, ugh, the vocals are childish, and yet the desires to engage in adult themes are still consciously there. So it feels weird for me since I'm not a parental figure in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because me, bitch, I'm trying to be, I want a daddy. That's my issue. So I should have been in that position. But
Right. Y'all should have, well, maybe not switched, but you should have been in that role.
because I would have excelled in that bitch. Um, just seeing people enjoy what they enjoy or feel beholden to certain acts or ideas because they're all fetishes. If it's not about creating a child, then it is just about your personal sexual fulfillment. And it has to do with what's on the body. Personally, feet shouldn't be sexual. It shouldn't be. But people want to suck on your soles and they're like, let me see them toes. And I'm like, I don't like my toes. But he's like, oh, those are sexy. I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, put it in your mouth. I don't give a damn. Just,
Yes.
just get rid of it. Um, but the fact that you can choose the meal that you want, it's like I can go to the Asian right now,
Mm-hmm.
and even in that, you're like, oh, well, what kind of Asian do you like? It's like, okay, so I can be real specific about my needs. That is how we have set up, at least on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
what we want. And it's easier for us to do it. So if you indulge in porn, you probably are indulging in a play of some variety. You're choosing what you want to look at. As to why you want to, that's up to you. I don't give a fuck. Get your nut and go about your day and respect other people. Respect people as they are actual human beings with minds of their own, with histories of their own. Um, and stop trying to engage with them as merely sexual objects. And if you want to engage with someone that is a sexual object, then that means personally, I don't mind not for me personally, but people that posted on their profiles, no fats, femmes, or Asians. I don't know why that was so specific, but if you have that, I'm glad you have that. I'm glad you know what you want. It does it suck to read that? I mean, I guess if you're attracted to the bitch,
Right. Right.
it only sucks when you're just like, oh, I really wanted you, but now you don't want me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I'm glad that they don't want you, and I hope you don't want them anymore.
Right. Because I mean, hey, I've seen people that had they didn't want even like they only wanted like white or Latino, and I'm like, damn, you was fine. I wanted to fuck you, bitch, but not. Damn. I move on.
And I'm out. Okay, there's plenty more people that want to fuck out here. Don't place all of your stock in someone that you desire, because it's all about you at the end of the day.
Hello.
And you're only going to be able to get what you can get based on what you offer. And if you ain't offering much, then yeah, it's going to be harder to get what you want, but someone's going to want you.
Mhm.
It's just unfortunate that maybe you don't want them. So you kind of have to deal with what you can take.
Oh, oh my
It,
chest.
it just hurts. It just hurts to hear it because a lot of people out here haven't had sex with other people, and you're like, damn, people out here not fucking. Y'all aren't having sex like that. It's like just no one wants to touch me. I'm like, I'm real confused because you look attractive. So what else about you is unattractive to the point no one wants to fuck you? Unless that's a lie.
Uh,
Unless you're a whore and you're just doing that feigning of virginness just because you know that you're just not disgusting. That's too aggressive. You know that you are used up, and many want something a little more closed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just wish people would just get out of their feelings about sexuality, because all of it is just complaints about not being accepted. And the erotic capital that Zion has talked about said that I should read about, and I didn't have to read about it. Why? Because I already knew that. It's apparent. Um, yeah, there's a sexual hierarchy, and you need to know where you're at in it. If you're not at the top, then you need to be worried.
You want to
Because
be on top?
like, come on now. Like, if you're not at the top, the second tier, or even the third tier, and you're below, then yeah, you're always going to be self-conscious about what you can achieve and what you can receive. And me personally, and it also depends on where you're at and the demographic you're surrounding yourself with. So if you're not receiving anything, just look at yourself and look where you are. If it sucks where you are, you need to change that. I mean, I hope you wouldn't just move because you ain't getting laid.
Oh,
That'd be sad.
that'd be real bad.
Like, damn,
Bad.
that's
You
really
need to
hurting me.
feel stuff. Seek help.
Get that therapy. But,
Seek help.
but that's it. That's it. We all got our kinks that we want. Like Yoshi Kawasaki, he about to drink his own pee.
Ooh, I do like that name. I know who that is. I know who that is. Yeah.
His hole is open,
You hear me?
destroyed.
Wrecked.
I'm about to look at it right now because I need to know. Oh, 14 minutes of drinking your own piss? Oh,
God damn.
oh, and he's wearing, oh, okay. He's got the gauges, and then he's got the little, he's wearing,
Please.
the, so the condoms are hanging down from his earlobes, and they're full of piss. Oh, see, there's something for everybody. And he's looking into the camera, giving that good little gooning face, pinching
Mm-hmm.
his little plumped, popped out nipples. Everyone's got something. It's real baboon like, but that's not for me. But oh, drink it, enjoy it. Why do you enjoy that? Me, it needs to be fresh from the tap if I'm gonna get into it.
Yeah.
If I'm
Yeah.
really gonna
Yeah.
get into it.
Yeah. Gotta be straight from the tap. Not been saved. Not sat a while. No.
Nope.
It has to be from the hose.
And you gotta have me in that real sub mood. It's
Get
gotta
you
be
drinking that piss.
yeah, like real subby to the point that it's like, this is all I am. I deserve this. Yes, I do.
That's fun. Oh,
But
that's fun. There is
also, what?
I said there is something for everybody. You're right.
For something for everybody. And you know what? People start doing things with people that like you. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I need to be a grandmother or a mother talking to someone right now, but baby, I hope they love you. If they truly respected you, they would love you and do the things they want for you. Y'all are just fucking anybody out here and complaining about content creators just being crazy. Yeah, they're fucking crazy. You just said, sup, I want that hole. Okay, bet.
Hello.
You down to film? And now you got the letters because you wasn't following up. But that's shaming, and I shouldn't be doing that. But we just have to change our morals as well. There's got to be levels of morals and sexuality involved, but you're dealing with children who are fucking, and they're damn near 40. So we have lots to work on.
We do. You know, we have low key signed up for this work
Ooh, it sounds so hard already.
It does. We have signed up for this work, and it's here now. Here we are.
I'm about it. I need some coin, and honestly, I need y'all motherfuckers to stop being crazy.
All of that, all of the above, literally. So we definitely gonna have a question and answer episode. I thank you so much, so much for doing this and coming back. It's very much appreciated. This has been technically Misery Loves Company Part 2, the psychology of raceplay. Thanks again to Moray for coming, and thank y'all for watching. And please stay tuned for much more that is in store. Until we meet again, I thank you all, and that is the end.